We have to take a very holistic view of fighting terrorism. And I have said that it has three facets: the military, political, and socio-economic. But we also have to see this from the short-term, mid-term, and long-term perspective. I personally believe when we apply the military or the force, or we use physical force against terror, it is in the short-term perspective. But it is the key to success in the other domain of political and socio-economic. And I totally agree with Colleen that unless you create an environment to be able to use the political and socio-economic instrument, you will not succeed in the war against terror. So therefore, the military creates the environment, and it is in the short-term perspective. Then, in the mid-term perspective, you take the political element. And when we are talking of the people who attacked the World Trade Center being educated, it was the political dispute which probably motivated them to do whatever they did. And that was the Palestine-Israeli dispute, which needs to be resolved. Then comes the long-term perspective, and that is the socio-economic perspective. You cannot go for education and poverty alleviation in the short term. It will take many decades to convert a society and educate a society and counter poverty in a society. So therefore, one cannot argue that poverty alleviation or education is the answer to fighting terrorism. So you have to, first of all, counter terrorism with force, with military force, especially when a government is abetting terrorists in their society, when they are harboring terrorists, then it is a war against that state. So therefore, military use or war against terror creates the environment to use the political instrument and also the socio-economic. The last point that I want to make is that terrorism, I believe, is a symptom, whereas the cause is the political disputes. So while we address the symptom through military use and force and launch a war against it, we must go to the cause through political resolution and poverty alleviation and education. So this is the holistic view that I take.